Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Today we're in some of the medical spaces of sick bay on Battleship New Jersey, and we're going to talk about a small sampling of reasons people were admitted to sick bay.
They would come through that hatch, come around the turret, and stop right here and get their medical record from one of our corpsmen who was in charge of medical records. They'd take the medical record in their hand, they would walk over here through this hatch, and at the other side of the hatch would be another corpsman asking them, well, what was the problem for that day? And if it was a problem where they had a cough, cold, something like that, the corpsman would say, well, okay, yeah, you just got a little cold, cough, come back go in the pharmacy and get something. So the corpsman would actually write the prescription. If it's something more important, like that a corpsman thought they really had something that they really needed the doctor's attention to, then they would send him over to the doctor, which was around the other side of the turret, and make him stand outside the doctor's office. And so either the corpsman or the doctor would write a prescription, or if they had an injury, obviously, would take it right into the examining room.
These come from the help that many of you guys volunteered in going through the deck logs that we have access to, which, again, very incomplete. But just going through the ones we had access to, we found huge numbers of names that were on the sick lists, and some of them were rather interesting cases. Let's start off with March 20th, 1969. An N.W. Baker, bitten and scratched on right hand by a monkey in the street while on liberty. Returned to duty. That same day, a W.A. Brennan suffered contusions to the face resulting from a fight. Misconduct undetermined, admitted to sickbay. And you'll see it's pretty common with these that they will say who is at fault. If the sailor is at fault and should be punished for doing something that got them in trouble and is removing them from the workforce, and then whether or not they're returned to duty or admitted to sickbay. On May 4th, Star Wars Day, 1969, A.J. Farina slipped on oily deck plates and burned the posterior of his left forearm on a hot coffee pot. Injury not due to own misconduct. Treatment administered by medical department, returned to duty. The same day, an E.F. Lysat sustained an 1.5-inch laceration on the scalp while fooling around in the passageway. He jumped into the AR and struck his head on the overhead. Oh, that's supposed to say air. It's not what's typed here. Injury due to his own misconduct, treatment administered by medical office, and returned to duty. So you can see some of the conditions. You're walking along and you slip because somebody left oil out. That's not your fault. Horsing around, that is your fault. Bit by a monkey? We don't know who provoked the monkey. The next month, 3 June 1969, J.M. Coffin fractured one tooth, broke 2 other teeth, suffered an 1.5-inch laceration on the right hand. He was assaulted by 4 persons unknown at Trader Al's Tavern. Not due to his own misconduct. Returned to duty. Wow. What do you have to do to get removed from duty on this ship?
We had the most modern equipment. When I arrived, I was the only dentist. The other 2 did not arrive for about a month or 6 weeks after I did. And the ship was in dry dock. The engineering duty officer came to me, very sharp young man. He said, "This is the dental office. You're in charge. The equipment's here. You place it where it should be, the x-ray, the chair, the units, and being fresh-out dentist is a lot of responsibility. Fortunately, I put it in the right place because I went to a dental supply company and asked them some ideas, and of course I had my office. I practiced some in Long Beach before I went into service, but I could have screwed it up real bad.
Later that same day, an M. Amante suffered a laceration on the 3rd finger of his left hand in a fight with another crew member at the YMCA. Not due to his own misconduct. Who was starting these fights? Returned to duty. And A little bit later that day, a J.E. Sloan suffered an 1.5 inch laceration on the lower lip in a fight with a crew member at the YMCA. Due to his own misconduct, this guy started it, he was also returned to duty. And then a month later, July 28th, this was the previous year, July 28, 1968, R.A. Minkin caught his finger in the meat slicer and suffered a partial amputation of the right index fingertip, not due to his own misconduct. He did get placed on the sick list for that. So again, you can see the injuries so far seem to fit into one of two categories. Either you were doing something on liberty or something in the ship in the course of your own duties, and it seems like it's more dangerous to go on liberty than it is to do whatever needs to be done on the ship. 2 days later, on July 30th, 1968, a J.M. Landis suffered secondary burns on both hands when he slipped and fell on the grill. He was admitted to the ward, no misconduct. Same day, L.J. Swat hit hand on deck hatch while loading ammo for Mount 52 and returned to duty, no misconduct. And then an R.H. Pobert, 1 inch laceration of the scalp when he struck his head while leaving the gun mount. Again, no misconduct, returned to duty. The doors on the 5-inch guns are very small. When you come out and visit the ship, you'll see. A few months later, 13 November 1968, we've got the ship is in the Philippines on liberty. A G.L. Solinger, laceration above eye when jumped by 5 Filipinos onshore, sent to sick bay. So again, it seems more dangerous to go on liberty than to just stay on the ship. The next day, 14 November 1968, a J. Vellante was hit in the mouth, lacerating his lip, no misconduct. A DJ Finemore hit in mouth, lacerating lip due to misconduct. And a DG Hayward, contusion to back after falling down a ladder, no misconduct. A J.F. Adams, highly intoxicated, admitted to sickbay due to misconduct. E.A. Torres, returning to ship by shore patrol, unconscious and intoxicated, treated for minor injuries due to misconduct. So, again, guys coming back from shore leave, some of them drunk when they came back, some of them maybe a little bit hungover and falling down ladders and things that they wouldn't normally. Then on December 12th, 1968, you have an R. Hill, fell through the deck grating. A little bit later that day, you have a J. Ranius, fell through the deck grating. So clearly somebody didn't put the deck grating back or didn't post a watch when they had deck grating up. So these guys are just falling through the pits of death I keep warning you about.
So I came down and smashed my left bucktooth on the hatch coming for the hatch down to the shaft alley. The only thing that was holding it together was the nerve. You could see the black nerve literally hanging in midair.
So that must have been painful.
So I went to the dental office, and the guy was a full commander that did the work. So he pulled it out, and he had a dental tech build me a temporary plate made out of plastic and wire and a false tooth.
And then, because liberty is always more dangerous than being on the ship, you've got a W. Earl head laceration on liberty. Also during the Vietnam War, an R. Moore suffered a fracture of the left fibula while playing baseball. And so those were the ones we have from our Vietnam era deck logs. We don't have many deck logs from the 80s or the Korean War, but going all the way back to World War II, we've got a couple of other interesting ones. And I should say, there isn't a day that goes by that there wasn't some sort of injury recorded in the deck log. We're just going through some of the most interesting and monkey-based injuries. 14 December 1944, a KJ Hanley received first and second degree burns of the hands and feet while he was carrying a container of hot chili. Looks like not all the chili made it to mess. 22 September 1943, an R.A. Takchenko received abrasions and contusions of scrotum when he slipped on the ladder. Maybe it's for the best I didn't pronounce his name right. Yikes. The ladders are dangerous on this ship, man. You gotta be careful. 2 days earlier, 20 September 1943, Verhoew, an H.G. Verhoew, received a contusion of the forehead when he was hit by a mooring line and knocked into the river. While it might have been dangerous being on board the ship doing normal everyday stuff, and while it was definitely dangerous going on Liberty, you'll notice that none of those injuries were in combat. Battleship New Jersey only ever suffered one onboard combat fatality, and otherwise was a generally pretty lucky ship. So you notice it is dangerous just being on a ship, but on the battleship, you're not very likely to be killed or injured in combat. What were some wacky injuries on your ship or at your place of business? Let us know in the comments section down below. These records that we read names from and everything are on the public record, so we felt comfortable saying names and things like that. But remember, and don't tell us the names of whoever tore their scrotum at your workplace. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. There's a link in the description below for ways you can donate to support the ship. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about our museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.